US President Joe Biden says his administration is working towards a sustained calm between Israel and Palestine. He stopped short of calling for an immediate ceasefire, despite demands from 28 senators from his own Democratic Party.
We also believe Palestinians and Israelis equally deserve to live in safety and security and enjoy equal measure of freedom, prosperity, and democracy. And my administration is going to continue to engage Palestinians and Israelis and other regional partners to work towards sustained calm.
Well, let's cross over now to our White House correspondent, Kimberly Halkett. Kimberly, President Biden hasn't called for a ceasefire. China revealed that the Security Council demands for a ceasefire were blocked by the US. So what message is the US trying to send right now?
Well, the message it's sending, whether it's delivered or not, is one that is somewhat unbalanced, if you will. You heard the U.S. president talking there, saying that he believes that there should be an equality when it comes to Palestinian and Israeli security. But at the same time, the U.S. has been anything but equal when it comes to its military support. Of course, military support has been overwhelming historically for years, billions of dollars for Israelis, but not the same for Palestinians. So this is something that is certainly getting a lot of pushback in the United States. Meantime, as the Israeli military continues to carry out its airstrikes, including over the weekend of one of the buildings that housed not just Al Jazeera journalists, but also journalists from the Associated Press and others, the Secretary of State, Antony Blinken, saying that he has seen no intelligence that would back up Israel's claim that, in fact, this was a legitimate target. Take a listen.
Further, we call on all parties to ensure the protection of civilians, especially children, to respect international humanitarian law, to protect medical facilities, protect media organizations, and protect UN facilities where civilians are desperately seeking shelter. And we are ready to lend support if the parties seek a ceasefire.
Well, there's been some more pushback from members of Biden's own Democratic Party over his handling of the situation. What more can you tell us about that?
Yeah, there seems to be a real division that is growing within the Democratic Party. Not only did we hear from members of the president's party in the House of Representatives late last week calling for the Biden administration to stop siding with the occupiers, as one congresswoman put it, but now we are hearing also from Democratic senators, 28 to be to be exact. What they've sent is a letter calling for an immediate ceasefire. What there appears to be is a division. What you're seeing is some of the older Democrats in the Democratic Party that are, in fact, supporting the Biden administration's policies, but at the same time, some of the younger progressive members of the president's party are seeing this as an issue of racial injustice. And as the Biden administration says that it is a defender of human rights, they are wondering why it does not apply in this case.
OK, Kimberly Halkett there live from the White House. Kimberly, thank you very much indeed. Well, let's stay with this story. We can speak now to Ibrahim Freihat. He's an associate professor of conflict resolution at the Doha Institute, the very man we need to speak to, given there is a conflict ongoing. As you understand it, Ibrahim Freihat, do you see any efforts underway to broker a ceasefire? And who do you think would be most likely to have an impact when it comes to brokering a ceasefire in this instance?
Well, thank you. I think there is a great opportunity for regional and international mediation to take place at this moment, because I think the parties need help with trying to broker some sort of an agreement. There is no doubt that the United States has serious leverage that can intervene and can pressure Israel in order to stop the attacks on Gaza. The Netanyahu government has declared a number of times that they're refusing to stop the attacks. Hamas already announced that they're willing to stop the attacks if Israel stops the attacks on Gaza. So it's the United States who can pressure Israel on this side. But nevertheless, I think there are equally important regional efforts that can be made, especially from Egypt. And Egypt here, I think, has three qualities, three important things, which is access, expertise, and leverage. Egypt has access to the parties, to Israel and to Hamas, not now, but also in the past. Egypt has expertise, has always been mediating these kind of ceasefires between Israel and the Palestinians. Also, Egypt hosted intra-party reconciliation among the Palestinians. And also, Egypt has leverage. Leverage because the conflict in Gaza is also a national security issue for Egypt. So if this violence continues, it has the potential to spill over in Egypt and can affect the situation in the Sinai Peninsula. So Egypt can intervene, and it's a regional player and can use this leverage on both Israel and also on Hamas.
Okay.
And we have seen some serious statements that the Egyptian government has made, being very critical of Israel for refusing to talk and for refusing to stop the attacks. And I think Egypt can continue with this and can make a difference in this on this level.
Well, Egypt can intervene, and it could be potentially make some kind of difference here. But will they? Because we've been following this continuously for the last 10 days or so. I mean, what day do these parties decide actually we are going to intervene? The United States have been holding back. Egypt has the potential to make a difference here, but hasn't. Why do you think none of these parties are making a move here? How much longer do you think people will wait before they actually decide to step in and do something?
I really don't think that Egypt can afford to stay silent and not to exert serious pressure in order to stop the violence. Egypt has made some serious critical statements of the position of Israel. It's the Israeli government now that's refusing, as per Netanyahu statements, refusing to listen to any mediation effort to stop this. And Netanyahu has made this publicly, that no room for third-party intervention. And for that, I think Egypt, if this continues, we know what comes as a result of war and violence. It's refugees, spillover of violence to the neighboring countries. This is what happened, what we saw happening in Syria and Libya and Yemen, everywhere.
Okay.
And definitely Egypt is not an exception. So that's why I don't think Egypt has the luxury to stay silent or to stay neutral over this violence. And I think Egypt will and should continue to intervene and to pressure the party that's not listening to stopping the violence. And in this case, it's Israel who has openly and publicly refused to stop the violence. OK,
well, we'll wait and see what, if anything, Egypt decides to do. But for now, Ibrahim Freihat joining us from Doha. Thank you very much.